welcome to another marvelous episode of the College Football Showdown. I am the governor of college football, and with me, as always, is my co-pilot, Jalen Wilson. Yes, we're here on a Friday. I was out of town yesterday. I was in Charlotte when my brother was getting his hair done. It looks phenomenal. Also, Jalen, the person who was doing his hair, name is Red. Pressure. You hear me? Pressure. For sure. So shout out to my brother Weed. So we did this today because it worked better for today. Jalen is home today, so you see the Illinois stuff in the background. How you doing, brother? Hope all is well. What's happening? My dog D-Now in the chat. Shout out to my dog D-Now. How you been, brother?
I've been good. Pretty much chilling for real. It was spring break week at work, so it wasn't too much to do this week. It was kind of kick back,
Uh,
uh, talk all day type of stuff. Do what I got to do first thing in the morning, and ain't got nothing to do for like other 6 hours. So
okay. Nah.
like I was, bro. I promise you, I was chatting it up yesterday. I was chatting up with this one girl by the cafeteria. Like me and her, we run into each other a couple times, and we was talking for like 30 minutes. And she was like, "Don't you gotta
Oh,
be back at work?" I was like, it's Thursday. Ain't
same
nobody
shorty,
there.
different shorty?
Different.
Whoa, what are you on, brother?
No, wasn't like that. It was just like
We're just catching up.
yeah,
It's always
yeah.
like that, brother.
But
It's
different,
all
shawty. Different, shawty. I was talking to her for like a good like 30, 40 minutes before our
my
lunch
dog.
break.
My
So
dog. So this is what I will say. Went to Charlotte yesterday. Just being there got me amped for the fella trip we got coming up in April. Got the hiccups, my bad. Went to
drink
this
some
vegan
water.
spot. I got some. Went to the vegan spot. Probably the best vegan spot I've ever been to. Expensive, but it's worth it. It's called Oh My Soul. Um, so didn't really get to do much there because Weez was doing his hair, so I did make sure I drove out, got some food. So ready to do this show today. Also excited for. I know we probably get on 2K later on today, but a lot's going on in the college football world. But before we get to that, everybody see the title of the show. We're going to talk about tampering, and the one thing that I feel like with our company, College Football Nation, and also what Jalen does on the Just Jalen YouTube, we always care about the semantics of the sport. I'm afraid that people who don't love the sport the way that the media who continues to do this thing in the offseason, like us and everybody else who does college football media, that people will get pushed away. Like, it's almost like if you're not a diehard with the sport, no matter what, I'm going to watch college football. But if something stupid happens in college basketball with me being a college basketball casual, I won't watch it. I'll get pushed away from it. You know what I'm saying? And
Is
my
it is
fear is
are
that
you?
some casuals will get pushed away by the semantical issues that we have in the sport, and that's kind
Okay,
of my
I
fear.
thought you
So
were alluding to something else.
yeah. So we're
I thought you were alluding to Miami of Ohio going 31-1 and still might not make
whoa,
the tournament.
whoa, that's bad. I did see that. That's
They
bad.
they
But
actually might let like a 15-win Auburn team in over them. Crazy.
that's
SEC bias
nasty.
is
That's
crazy.
nasty work. But I mean, we saw North Carolina get in last year, and granted, they proved that they deserved to be in last year because they did win a couple of tournament games last year. But while we're on college basketball, such a great job with the segue there, Jalen. Thank you for the alley oop. The glass basketball court or the see-through basketball court, I believe it was glass, whatever you want to
It was
call it,
glass. It was
with the
LED glass.
with the LED glass and the lights and all of that. Now, I'm a Brett Yormark guy. Everybody knows this. I love the way he handled the expansion of the SEC and the Big Ten and how he was extremely aggressive. And Paul and George Cleveland was not of the Pac-10, and that's why Pac-12, and that's why I decimated. But it's being built up right now. He's an innovator. Remember, he got clowned last year because he's thinking about changing the name of his conference to a provider, whether it be
Hmm.
All State or something like that. He got laughed at about that. Here's my opinion on it, and I'm sure we'll have difference of opinions here. But here's my opinion on it. You can't test a hypothesis sometimes until you actually do something. Now, the public pushback, players getting injured, they may never do it again. But I'm sure in a constructual perspective, there's be like, damn, we could have did this and it would have saved the floor. Because to me, it looked immaculate. To some people, they did not like the way it looked. So you are a
Yeah.
college basketball enthusiast as well as a college football enthusiast. What are your thoughts on it? How do you feel about it? And what could they done better? And do you think they'll try it out in the future?
I think they'll try it out because the biggest problem was the court had more give than a regular basketball court, they said. Even though it
Okay.
was like glass, it had more give, but it
Mm-hmm.
was a lot more slippery than a actual court, which of
Mm-hmm.
course is glass, you
Right.
know. So that was like the biggest problem. So I do like the fact that the commissioner was like, hey, it's not working out. We seeing big pushback on this. We just gonna be like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
we gonna cut it for the rest of the conference tournament.
Right.
We finna go back to the regular court. We ain't finna be stubborn. We ain't finna stick to our guns. Nah, he was like, made a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Time to go back to the regular way. So, yeah, I wasn't really mad at the decision. I did like the idea. I was like, might work.
Mm-hmm.
I get it, but same time, I thought it was just like it's a cool idea, but ain't nothing wrong with sticking to a regular basketball court.
And you're also, and I said it earlier, people got to understand that you are a college basketball purist. They have to know that. Me, I used to be. I'm not that anymore. I'm a casual. So from speaking from a casual perspective on college basketball, it looked really dope. It looked really cool.
It did.
Player
It wasn't a
safety
bad idea.
is always going to come to the forefront. Will they try it again? That's the $1 million
They
questions.
will.
They
They
will.
will.
You think from a
Yeah.
constructual that they'll figure out a way to so that player safety is at the forefront because
It might
when
not
you
even be the Big 12. It might be another conference that we were like, we saw the mistakes that the Big 12 did. We kind of fixed those up, and
think about it
that
from an
that that's what they're gonna
advertising
say.
perspective, because the TV companies are selling advertising television slots. Well, the Big 12 as a conference could flash whoever some of the providers were on the floor. Just being able to do that. So, like I said, well, we got something in the comments here. Our dog D now. NCAA wants to do games on naval ships every year too. One bad game plus 6 years ago they haven't. That
I
right
love the
there is
naval ship
frustrating.
games. To be honest
Yeah,
with
I
you, I
remember
always
that.
loved them.
I
Always loved
remember
them.
them. And the sad thing is, it takes ingenuity, but it also takes stones and the ability to face the criticism and the backlash. And if you can't face that and move on to try again, like what I'm saying. Granted, with putting safety, player safety at the forefront, that has to be at the forefront of every discussion. But from an optics and an aesthetics perspective, I would love to see that again, just like I would love to see the naval ships games again. But we have to be able to take that backlash and move on. Like, we're how many times in the life of sports, on the life of even what we doing in the media realm, how many times have you've taken chances on some of the content you provided, and maybe it was a swing and a miss, but you still
It
didn't.
happens.
Yeah, you still didn't stop pursuing what you want to do as a content creator. Like Governor College Football is coming back and it's coming with and guess
You
how
just go
many
back to the drawing
chances?
board, be like, how can I improve? How can
Yeah,
I get
yeah. And
better?
guess how many
What can I do different?
times I'm gonna swing and a miss a lot, but I'm gonna show up every single fucking day. And like I hope they try it again. Just like I would love to see the naval ship games again as well. So
Oh, by the way, KT, I don't know if I'm gonna do it. I don't know if I can find something online. If I gotta do it, I will. I'm gonna try to be like a next week. We gotta do like probably do like a March Madness college football thing. 68 teams, and we go through and pick the
of all
teams
time,
like all time. Yeah,
okay, we should figure it out early.
no, the one seeds have to be, of course, 01 Miami,
Uh huh.
19 LSU.
Of course.
Oh, who could be the other?
Which Alabama?
I was thinking 2020 Devontae Smith.
Okay. Okay.
Um, then the fourth number one seed is I don't know.
Okay.
Is
Because
it
where
one of
where
them Nebraska
where
teams?
I'm
Is it
at
one of
where I'm at with
those?
this is let's get the gang help with it
Mm-hmm.
and do it. And if they're available, I think most of them work during the day. Maybe we could do a nighttime show that day, and
Mm-hmm.
actually have a poll out or actual bracket out prior to the day of the show. That way people can think about it. Yes, yes. Which USC team would you like up there? Would they be a one seed?
I feel like the '05 team is better than the '04 team. The
Yeah,
team that lost to Texas is better than the
yeah.
team that
Even though
won the
they didn't win it
previous
all,
year.
I'm
Even
with
though
you.
they didn't, yeah,
Yeah, I'm with you.
it
Figuring out
happens
the
like
two
that.
seeds and the three seeds would be more difficult than anything. Like that's gonna be difficult. So yeah, we can fill 68 teams and then figure out teams that didn't win championships that belong in there. And then we have to
Mm-hmm.
have actual long shots once we started getting to some of these 16 seeded teams. Like, we have to have long shots. So yes, I'm 100% down with that. It's March Madness. That will be phenomenal. We need to see who we could get on the show for that. So now let's transition to college football. And the story at hand is this tampering situation. Tony Petitti, I do commissioner rankings every year. Every year. It will be difficult for me to put him up there at number one. And guess who will be in competition with him at number one? Tim Pernetti, the guy who is the Americans commissioner, because he's done an outstanding job this year. The proof is in the goddamn pudding for what he was able to do this past year as commissioner there. And even the NFL has some interest there. Alrighty, so he wants the NCAA, Charlie Baker and company, to stop pursuing the inquiries and start having solutions. We can sit here and treat it like the Puritans, how they treated the Salem witch hunt, or we could come up with finite ideals and ideologies in order to say, hey, these are the new rules. It's in black and white. It is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and onward and so on, right? And boom, you have a set of rules, and that way we start to penalize the people who break it moving forward. What is your thoughts about this? I know we'll both have some pushback with it. I like the idea in theory, but I feel like the first team that's penalized, what they're going to do is snitch. I'm like, well, what about this team?
Oh yeah,
What
it's
about
already
this
happening.
team? Yeah, what about this team who before you established the rules did X, Y, and Z? So what is your thoughts on this? Let's thoroughly break this down. Let's take off the layers on this thing.
I don't mind. I do agree with you. First thing they get caught is gonna snitch. Whether it's the AD, whether it's the coach of the sports team that did it, whether it's the basketball, football coach, because I know some of those shots at the tampering thing was for basketball as well. Because I mean, there's already like questions about like when Kansas State fired what's his name, Jerome Tang, basketball coach. There was already like, oh yeah, they might get Brad Underwood, which would mean that they had to contact Brad Underwood during the season.
Right,
So
right.
I don't know the rules with coaches and talking to coaches during the season, but I mean that
That should
kind
be
of
all a part of it, though.
yeah. Um, it's even been some questions about Stojakovic transferring already, and our first Big Ten tournament game is today, and this was even before the season ended the other day. Uh, but yeah, the first team, they are snitching, like because Ohio, they're gonna be like, hey, what Ohio State, they can do this, we can't. Um, they can recruit these players and we can't. Like it's gonna be a Nino Brown situation. Where where he took the stand and was like, basically if I'm
Yeah,
going down,
it's bigger
everybody
than
else going
Nino
down
Brown.
with me.
He put
Yeah,
it
like
on the smart dude, man.
what was
Christopher
it, the
Williams.
banker?
Yeah, the banker played by Christopher Williams. Yeah.
Yeah. I like the fact that he addressed it and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It does seem like he wants to put some rules around it and stuff, which I do like. Fun fact, the podcast I sent you yesterday, it
Mm-hmm.
was they talked about like tampering and rules
Mm-hmm.
on NIL and rules on transfer portal and all that. Um, yeah, and they was just saying like how tough it is for coaches and everything to do this and do that. And he was like, Bill Self took just like 4 weekends off just to kind of relax and
Mm-hmm.
everything. Um, because it's like no break. It's like during the season started in October, and it's for basketball. Season starts in October, goes on to April. Then you gotta go recruit EYBL, but you also got to maintain your players through the summer. Um, basically you work until August. And football coaches, it's what, August to January, late January now. Um, Still got to worry about the transfer portal window. Still got to worry about recruiting, and that's during the season, actually, especially with the transfer portal window.
Yep.
So,
And then you
yeah,
got winter workouts when your season ends.
yeah,
And
and
spring camp, like it's even less of a window.
yeah. So, on top of that, the transfer portal window happens during the season, which means teams are already contacting your players
Mm-hmm.
if you're in the playoffs and playing, because those players aren't going to enter the portal usually until after the season it goes, and then somehow they'll find a home automatically, like
Mm-hmm.
tampering. But yeah, hopefully he does find some rules to it. But I do worry about like when teams get caught, what happens?
Alrighty. So now here's the next step in it. Like, what rules are automatically established? Like, are we going to talk about where Brett Bielema talked about Luke Altmaier, teams contacting Luke Altmaier, whether it was via DM or, most teams will try to cover up their steps. Now nobody cares because it's the Wild Wild West. Hey, this team's doing it,
Hmm.
that team's doing
We
it. If you
seen
ain't
Dabo
cheating,
call out Lane
yeah,
Kiffin and Ole Miss for it.
yes. So, like, when do we start to look at, hey, what rules has to be there? Does it has to be cleared? What about the teams who try to cover up their tracks? When we start to try to establish, hey, what are some of the rules that need to be in there? Like, if we are in season, right? Let's say it's
Hmm.
week 2, and Caden Proctor gets an email from Iowa asking, hey, how's your season going? This, that,
What
and the
if one of the
third.
rules
Is
is
that considered tampering? Or,
yes?
yeah, okay, all
That's
right.
that because we already know what you. It's like it's like if a girl and me are having like, oh yeah, we're old flame, blah blah blah. She hit me up, hey, what you doing? Like, why are you hitting me up?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, and your girl gonna be mad at you for entertaining it. So yeah,
exactly.
1,000%. So
It's
we agree
tampering.
on that. By the way, I'm just trying to establish.
What if one of the rules is you can't hit up players in the same conference? Now that's not doing anything for any other conference, but
Is this in season?
it
Like, what are the
yeah,
parameters?
it's in season. It's in
Okay.
season. Like during the season, you can't hit up players that's in the same conference unless they are already in the portal. If you tamper with them before they're in the portal, you get in trouble.
What if we have a tampering window that opens?
No, you got a transfer portal window.
Yeah, yeah. I'm talking about like a tampering window. Like, we're talking about because that still wouldn't be fair for teams that have deep college football playoff runs. There's no way, because you know how you got like a legal tampering window in NFL.
Hmm.
I'm not sure it would quite work at the collegiate level, and I feel like the NFL for the first time, in my opinion, experienced college football type semantics. And let's talk about it while we're in the middle of this conversation. We saw Max Crosby was traded
Hmm.
to the Baltimore
Baltimore. Yep.
Ravens, and the deal was agreed to in principle. Right, those are the words we'll discuss right now. And then, and trust me, I was talking to Foots throughout this whole time because I was telling him, Lil, I love the moves that the Raiders are making. Tyler Linderbaum, they got better at linebacker. They just made a whole bunch of
Hmm.
moves. And then the Ravens decide, well, nah, there's this medical issue that they kind of knew about it, but you can always blame it on a medical issue. But the medical
Yeah.
issue, in my opinion, arrived the moment that they knew they had Hendrickson locked up. And they tried to give it like space. You know what I mean? Like, it was maybe like a 12-hour window before the deal was officially signed. That's like probably one of the biggest semantic issues we've had in the NFL in recent memory. What are your thoughts about that? And then we'll kind of tie it back into college football.
Honestly, I didn't even look at it like that. I honestly, I looked at the Matt Crosby thing and was like, oh, he was injured. He didn't fully heal. So yeah, I
They
didn't
knew
think
he
the
was injured.
Raiders. Yeah,
They knew he was
I
injured.
didn't I didn't think the Raiders pulled a fast one for real until just now.
No, the Raiders reported the injuries. They
Yeah.
knew where he was at. Do you agree with this deal? And I believe the Ravens were facing public backlash because a lot of people's like, "Hey, yo, the Raiders won this deal. They got 2 number 1s for a guy that you already knew that was going to have to heal up." So, in my opinion, it was Baltimore being dirty. Like, and it's not
Oh,
the first
okay.
time that they did it. Like, they were like, you know what? We're getting kind of public backlash for moving these 2 players. Like, Trey
See, I didn't think
Henderson
like
was
that because I thought the Ravens was like trying to compete. So I'm like, okay, Max Crosby is what they
they
wanted,
could have
but
kept their picks, and they had the money after letting Tyler, what's the name, go,
I
and
Linderbaum,
boom,
yeah.
they signed Trey Hendrickson and say it's something injury based, and they get their 2 first-round picks back. And so we were talking in one of the group chats, and Dina was like, "Yo, they need to lose those picks, even if they don't go to Raiders. Like, they need to lose those picks." I was just wondering how, like, that was like the first time in a while I seen people in agreement about some dirty work. Because it was like, if you're only a Ravens fan, you don't deem it as dirty. But, like, I mean, Fuss was telling me ESPN was just, like, ripping the Ravens organization. It was like, there needs to be, like, you know how you say somebody is blacklisted, but it's not public?
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the Ravens need to be blacklisted, bro.
Yeah, I
tying
didn't
it
look
back
at it
into
like
this.
that.
You
But
don't?
I also didn't. Not. I mean, I didn't look into the Max Crosby trade. I just thought, oh yeah, they traded for Max
Mm.
Crosby. Cool. They
This
trying to
is the third
compete. I
time that
get
they
it.
did this, by the way.
It
Not
is.
not
Dang.
at this level, but yeah. There was another year they did it in like 1997 that they did it, and it was medical. You know what I'm saying? I think the Raiders would have moved differently if they knew they had Max Crosby. I don't think they would have spent so much money defensively. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? So that's the only part of it. So tying it back into college football, let's come up with a set of rules. What is your first rule? No contact within
Yeah. No.
conference.
Yeah. During the season.
Alrighty. So I'm going to give you an example of, I believe it was Virginia Tech. North Carolina Central had this third running back. Virginia Tech, one of their, like, I'm talking about, like, it's admin based person was acting like he was interested in the school and becoming an AD there, but he was just there to talk to their running back. Like, how do we address stuff like that? Because, we talk about it at a high level, like at the P4 level. It's bad
Mm-hmm.
at the G5 level, what some of these P4 teams are doing, but it's even worse once we start talking about FCS. It's far worse than our wildest imaginations. It's even worse. So I think we've addressed something major. No talking to any team in your conference, right, during the season.
Yeah.
How does that help with outside of your conference during the season? What does that look like?
That's tough. Honestly, I don't know. Like I was just like, because I feel like tampering's gonna happen no matter what.
Right.
But I'm like, if you could put rules on it in the conference, it could slow down certain things. But that's not gonna stop Alabama from contacting Caden Proctor. It's not gonna stop Iowa from contacting Caden Proctor. So, cause I think both teams did it right. They transferred
Yeah.
to Iowa and then transferred back to
Yeah,
Alabama.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Uh,
Iowa did dirty first, and Alabama got their get back. Yes,
yeah,
that 100% happened.
like
Uh,
it's not gonna stop that. And I don't know if you really can, no matter what rules. But I feel like if you're like can't contact any players in your conference during the season. If you do, that's minus like 4 scholarships.
okay. So I'm trying to think of how we could do this. So I mean, at the
Could we
high
do
school,
a limit on the transfer portal players you bring in? Like you can only, let's say each team can only
okay,
bring in 10 players.
that's rough, brother. That's really rough. And here's the pushback for me on it. Teams who have new head coaches and their rosters depleted. Like most of your roster,
Mm-hmm.
your first year is going to be transfer portal players.
Yep.
That's just that's the thing. So we know that there's other issues to fix. So we're trying to keep it tampering based. But they're like we need collective bargaining. I don't think there's no way we can get around collective bargaining at this point. But trying to keep it on a tampering window. So when a player commits, right? High school, I feel like you can still talk to a player up until the time they enter the collegiate
Mm-hmm.
level. I feel like tampering should be allowed there. But I'm talking about purely a player that's in college has entered the transfer portal window. So we're seeing the kid at Clemson, the linebacker who committed, to Clemson, and it was just clear tampering with Ole Miss head coach sending them the message, asking them what do you say? What is your buyout or something like that, or how much,
Yeah.
pretty much, and then said player ended up in Oxford playing for Ole Miss. I'm trying to figure out like how could we label it where we saying like you can't talk to any player from the time that the transfer portal ends all the way up into the transfer portal begins. Is that crazy? You're muted.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. I was
Uh,
saying, is that crazy?
My, my,
From the
my,
moment that, huh?
my mic changed all of a sudden.
Okay, yeah, you're good. From the moment that the transfer portal ends, right? And it's weird because we still seeing players signing after the transfer portal window. So I'm not sure how we word it, but from the moment that the transfer portal ends to the moment people start announcing that they're entering the portal, I think that should be a no contact zone. Like, if you do contact a player during this time period and there is sufficient enough evidence that should be classified as tampering. And I think attacking scholarships is the best way to handle any of this. I really do. And if a team, like, so are we doing like slap on the wrist first time, second time, loss of scholarships? Like, what happens if you do it a third time? Like, are we talking about like a postseason ban? Like, how far are we willing to go with this?
I think you gotta talk about postseason ban.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you have to be honest with you. I feel like it's one of the only solutions to really stop that, because I feel like it's just so important. The postseason ban is like, it could get the death penalty is like end all be all. Like, but
yes,
the postseason ban is like the second most important thing. But I feel like it has to be a multiple year postseason. It has to be 2 years.
It has to be 2 years.
It's crazy, but
I mean that you have to be irrational in order to get this thing to stop.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So when did the transfer portal window open? It was January 2nd. It was January 2nd to January 16th, right? But players started announcing that they were entering the portal. And then once you enter the portal, I believe you get like this registration number. So I guess once that registration number is confirmed in the portal, you are allowed to contact. Once a player is signed somewhere, you are no longer allowed to contact at the collegiate level alone. If you do contact, the first one, loss of scholarships. Second one, postseason ban for 2 years. Third time is death penalty. Is that too harsh? You know?
Sorry, guys.
Nah, you good, brother. Is that too harsh?
Wait, say that again?
I said first time violation, you loss of scholarships, right? Not all of them, but just a few. Maybe we say 3 or 4. Second time, are we going to the postseason ban the second time? You caught tampering? A loss of more scholarships, and then we do a third time, postseason ban, and then a fourth time you get the death. But this is in one fiscal year, though, right? Because we have to set the parameters.
Like a 5 year.
A 5 year gap. Okay.
4 year span, because scholarships are 4 years.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. I like where we're headed here. So we got one scholarship loss, second time more scholarship loss, third time postseason ban, fourth time death penalty within a 4 year window, within a scholarship window. I think that is phenomenal. I think that is an outstanding start. So now let's move to the litigation portion of this thing. So boom, let's say you're the head coach of Northwest. My fault. You hate Northwestern. You're the head coach of Illinois in Champaign there, and let's say Ohio State has contacted one of your players, right? Illegally, you got the evidence. So, who are we taking this evidence to? Because we can sit here and say that the NCAA is going to establish the rules, but are they going to enforce the rules?
I don't know. I feel like you got to take it to – I feel like it has to go through –
It has to be a commission. Oh.
And then
your conference commissioner.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move this a step forward.
The top dog is.
Alrighty. Now we have a bigger issue. I say it's Ohio State. And as a conference, commissioner, the Big Ten has won 3 straight championships. Yeah. And you want these teams to continue to, win championships. When, as you as a commissioner, going to turn a blind eye. Because let's say, hey, you as Tony Petitti is going to, I'm just using these names. You know what I'm saying? You as Tony Petitti might say, hey, I'm turning a blind eye to this. We got more championships to win. But somebody and that's not attacking Tony Petitti character.
So let's make a rule.
Yeah.
If an AD doesn't turn it in, turns the blind eye, he gets fired. Or not an AD, a commissioner.
A commissioner? I don't think commissioners are going to turn it in. This is where I think we need some type of commission. It all goes back to a commission. Because do we trust Charlie Baker to enforce these rules? Because of all the issues we had from a semantical perspective with college football, the one thing that he wanted to approach was eligibility, where I think tampering and poaching supersedes that. You know what I'm saying? People want to break these NIL contracts that are signed. I think supersedes the eligibility concern. Like, I think there was a lot more things that was going on, but, the thing in the hill that they were willing to die on is eligibility. To me, that's weird. So, we can say the NCAA establishes these new rules, but in the past and currently, they have ignored and turned a blind eye to, and a lot of it deals with, because if a school is fired, what's going to end up happening is, let's say you sue one of these schools in Virginia. That school in Virginia, but let's say you accuse Virginia Tech of tampering, the evidence is there, right? So even when the NCAA lays down their penalty, the school is going to turn that into their attorney general. The attorney general is going to sue the NCAA. So this is weird. This thing gets deep, bro. Because we seen it a few years ago when Tennessee's attorney general sued the NCAA. If I'm not mistaken, they won. And as well as Virginia's attorney general sued the NCAA as well. So how do we prevent that? Like, once a team is found guilty, whatever it's a commission or the NCAA actually do their damn job for once and not only establish the rules, we're going to take a step further and enforce the rules. What do we do with the after effect or the we could say no retaliation clause?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe you can have somebody like, I don't know, the president try to make a rule for college football. Like,
yeah, and he's been trying. And he has been trying. I give him that.
Like, I know the president don't really watch college football like that. He can say, I don't think he does.
Yeah.
I feel like him and Stephen A. Smith are like the same type of.
How about Indiana?
So, yeah, but you could probably go to somebody and be like, can this be a thing to where they can't take it to a higher up and they can't take it to attorney general here and get something, I don't know, get like basically say, oh yeah, they actually didn't tamper with us or tamper with them. Like, yeah, it's kind of difficult. The more we go down, it's kind of difficult.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's really difficult because the further we go along, and I think what we get to see is that, hey, there's people willing to put in the work, but we're not so certain that the NCAA or whatever commission that gets assigned to these cases are willing to put into work and deal with the backlash from it. So I think Tony Petitti's next move is going to be extremely important. Because he's right. Like, instead of like trying to establish, because teams are going to go back like 50, 60 years and have all these cases and these files of tampering. Let's establish rules and say starting now.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to do that. That's both.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter. We don't care about Miami players in 2003 getting paid to go there.
Right.
That's 20 years ago. So that's 23 years ago. Like that doesn't even correlate to the stuff now. Like, yeah, they wouldn't be able to do that.
Let's just put this out here. The biggest offender of tampering is the SEC.
Yep.
Could Tony Petitti get Greg Sankey to say, hey, let's agree on this? Because to me, they are the ones who move the needle the furthest in this sport we call college football, because they're in the two biggest conference. And typically, when Tony Petitti and Greg Sankey agree on a subject, that subject gets moved immediately. Like typically. Would Greg Sankey agree to this knowing that his teams are the biggest perpetrators of the poaching? He wouldn't agree to it?
I don't think he will.
Yeah, I don't think he would either. But then that's bad for the sport if you win. I understand it as a commissioner. I understand it protecting your conference and your board of governors, which are the ADs of each team, and the athletic directors. They're just way to go, way not to agree to that. But we do need tampering laws. There has to be, or this thing is going to continue. Pete Golden shouldn't have been allowed to do what he did. He shouldn't, and he should have been penalized for it. But because there's no penalties or fear of no penalties, you're gonna do what you want to. It's like a bully, bro. You know what I'm saying? In your school, bully, like what was a bully name where everybody hates Chris? Walking around.
Caruso?
Yeah, Caruso, right? Caruso was the big shot, so he tried to pick on the wrong dude.
Yeah,
and then the Asian kid, yeah, bro. That man, then he became the bully. You know what I'm saying? Until Chris had to stage the fight. So as long as this is allowed, people are going to continue to violate the rules, and it should be valor amongst veterans, but honestly, it isn't. And it's sad because Dabo truly does try to play the game the right way, but everybody don't got the job safety that Dabo Swinney has. Any other coach in them shoes is fired, 1,000%. James Franklin is the example. BK down in Baton Rouge was an example as well as the guy in Gainesville. So, will this ever get fixed? I think that's where we're at now. Billy Napier.
No, I don't think it will. It will always be a problem with one coach. Will always have a problem with something. Couple coaches will always have a problem with something. It won't ever be fixed.
Let's just talk about the tampering alone.
I don't think it can be. It can be, but it won't, because there'll always be a loophole in it. There'll always be this, that. It will always be a twist and turn that some coaches will be able to go to where they'll be okay.
And this points back to collective bargaining. This is why it is needed. And this is why you don't have some of the same issues in the NFL. Collective bargaining protects a lot of it. You're wearing a uniform you're not supposed to be wearing. Like, whether it's some type of uniform alteration, you're going to be fined, and there's nothing you could do. You could try to say, hey, I didn't know this, that, and the third. You're still going to be fined if you violate a rule, right? And that needs to happen at the collegiate level. We need collective bargaining. It absolutely has to happen. It just does, to establish a lot of these rules with the players, establish rules with these ADs and coaches, because it needs to happen. We shouldn't just have people blatantly tampering and say, well, what are you guys going to do about it, right? Like, Dabo not going to punch me in my face. NCAA ain't going to do nothing about it. So, like, what are you going to do about it? Like, you know what I'm saying? It goes back to the Caruso ideology. Like, hey, man, these people going to continue to bully as long as you allow it. It takes strong people to really do this thing, like, and to really, handle it accordingly. And I just don't think it'll happen. Anything else you want to talk about before we get out of here today, brother?
No, not really. That was actually a longer talk than what I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah. It was one of those fun jumps, man. It's weird that you at home, because I was about to, you know what I'm saying? But now I know, what I'm saying, we about to get on the game. But so I always like to say that no more victories in the sport that survive for the fast. That's why college football is great.
Hey, when are we working on the March Madness thing? We're gonna start like tomorrow?
ASAP.
Okay.
ASAP. So we just need to once we have the teams, I can go to this bracket maker and it'll create the bracket.
Maybe we can. Do we use ChatGPT to come up with the 68 Cs? Do we go off some of ChatGPT? But use
what I would do first is try to fill them ourselves.
Okay.
And then we can have Gemini, Chat, or whatever try to fill theirs. Maybe there's a team we forgot about.
Yeah.
But at least the 4 seeds, 4 3 seeds, 4 2 seeds, 4 1 seeds, we should be able to come up with.
So the 1 seeds is Miami in 2001.
Mm-hmm.
That's Sean Taylor's freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
We got 2019 LSU.
Yep.
I assume we got 2020 Alabama.
Yeah, that's what we picked.
And after that, who would it be? Who would be that 4th 1 seed? Would it be an old Nebraska team? Would it be
I'm about to say, man, I think it was a 94 to 95 team. They didn't lose a game. The point differential was out of this world. Like, I don't know. That's where we have to have that round table talk. So I'm gonna create something so we can talk about it.
Okay.
All right, brother. We gonna get out of here, man. You all take care. 1.